Hey all, you're listening to the PS podcast, and this is your host Chaitanya. Physical attractiveness has always played a role in how people are treated within a society. In its extreme sense, those who are quote unquote good looking are provided opportunities to exploit their features in careers like acting and modeling. However, studies also suggest that it can bias the way we are treated in the workplace, in school, in court, and in our personal lives. For example, how much a person is paid attention to in their social circle or the way that they are treated in a romantic relationship. But what would you say to a person who perceives themselves to be quite low on the attractive scale within society? Or to a person who throughout their life have had to face the brunt of society's ugly side? This is a question that our guest deals with day in and day out. Dr. Sunil Richardson is a maxillofacial and craniofacial surgeon who, after completing his masters from Mangalore, has been busy in providing educational surgeries in Kenya, Tanzania, Malawi, Madagascar, Bulgaria, and many other developing countries, and also in many centers across India. He was also a visiting professor at the Yale University as well as the Stanford University. He has, through his work, changed the lives of thousands of people by making them feel like a part of the society again. Dr. Richardson excels in facial reconstruction and is adept in many facets of surgery of the face, which can include bone, hair, cartilage, orthodontics, etc. To give you guys a comprehension of the magnitude of the work that he has done, let me put out some numbers. Dr. Richardson has done over 3100 cleft lip and palate repairs. He has done around 1100 jaw surgeries, 1800 facial trauma operations, around 1200 dental implants, 1750 rhinoplasties, that is the surgery of the nose, and 1200 other aesthetic facial surgeries. In total, he has performed around 10,000 noted documented surgeries up until now. One can only begin to imagine the expertise a person has once they have performed a task 10,000 times. But that's not the best part of why he is such an interesting person. Okay, I want you to pause this podcast for a minute and visit the Instagram profile of Dr. Sunil Richardson. With around 30,000 followers, his profile is one of the most shocking, yet one of the most interesting things that I have seen on the platform. Fair warning, it is not for the weak-hearted. The images and videos are of his masterful work, but they include blood, bones, flesh, and much more. I don't know about you guys, but I am tremendously fascinated by the flesh and the meat anatomy that we possess, and his work lets me delve into that fascination with appropriate satisfaction. If you are game, just check out the page once. It's under the name Dr. Sunil Richardson. Dr. Sunil sits here with me to discuss about the complexity of his work, the medical industry of India, the medical education system of India, and much more. It was a tremendously uplifting conversation with him, and it has reignited my love for this country that we call home. Stick around for some incredible stories. This is the PS Podcast, and I'm your host, Chaitanya. You're so social media savvy, it is so different from the rest of the doctors, and that is again how I came to know about your work. It was so interesting to just see it.
I'm not originally savvy. If you look at all my social media profiles, the oldest is Instagram, which is 4 years and I think 4 years old. My YouTube channel is older, but I've been active only for 1 year. My Facebook is the only thing I was active for about, I think my account is 9, 10 years old. But I was not active on social media. So I got to know that it's a very powerful tool when I started working in Muscat. So there they told me that, Doc, the kind of works you do, you have to make more people know. Only then it's going to reach a bigger audience. And trust me, you're going to get so busy, you'll not even have time to breathe and things. And so there was a guy there who was a full-time marketing guy. He was a Malayali, but in Muscat, dentist, he helped me a lot. He told me how it needs to be done and everything is separate and how the whole thing works. And then I started slowly, one by one. And then, it also requires money and time. So initially, I took one at a time. I did this Instagram. I like Instagram actually. So I make a lot of friends on Instagram, even this one.
Yes.
If you contact me on YouTube, it's a different way. It's not. Instagram is more personal.
It's quicker because of the medium that you're using it on.
And somehow, let me tell you this, somehow all the contacts I get on Instagram are high class. Like they're nice people, like not wasting my time basically.
Yeah. So I had this question prepared before only, that how did you come into social media? But you've already answered that for me. But let me try additional question to that. So the sort of response that you get, the content on your page is not digestible by everyone. I find it very fanciful. My wife, she goes out of the room when she sees that. So what is the response like? What is the proportion like of the response?
Uh, I think about 25% of the common population can only digest my content. The rest can't see it. So my wife also, even though she's a dentist, hates what I put up there. She's like, this is not for common man to digest. But that's on one side. But I do realize that a lot of youngsters who don't have that mindset, who can take anything, and those people get really drawn into these kind of videos. So if you look at my 29,000 or almost 30,000 all followers on Instagram, I think the biggest group is between 18 to 35, and 80% of my followers are doctors.
Ah.
Yeah, they're medical professionals, they're surgeons, they're dentists, they're all those kind of people who want to learn more, who want to see how to do a fine thing, who want to know various aspects about these kind of surgeries. So that is my biggest following on Instagram. So it's very rewarding for me that way because I'm not in a college or an institution full time where I'm teaching people, giving back all the skills that I've learned on a continuous, regular basis. So I do it through Instagram. It gives me a lot of satisfaction. It gives me a lot of fulfillment, and it really I can tell you I get at least 10 queries from youngsters every week. This is minimum from all across the world, mainly from India, 70%, but across the world. People are like, Doc, we are just starting dentistry or we're just starting medicine. We're very apprehensive. We're so thrilled by what you do. We see you every day, and we get the energy to go through another day of hard work. And I'm in my night duty, and Doc, and I'm not having a patient. I'm watching your video again and again. I'm trying to see how you've dissected the nerve or how the results are making such a big difference. These comments and these feedbacks from the youngsters, oh, they really give me the energy to go on and on. Yeah.
No, but you really make it exciting, because so I would put myself in the category of layman, of novices, who don't know anything about the medical field. I have had my share of surgeries, but I have no idea of how you guys go about it. So your content is so attractive to somebody like me because it is so different from the definition of social media. Social media has been engineered to look good.
Yes.
Right, that is what social media is about. People portraying their life or portraying photographs that look good, and this is something completely different. It just stops you in your tracks. And for people like me, just accept. It might be common for doctors, I don't know, but for a human to accept that within this bag of flesh and bones, there the flesh and bones actually do exist inside. That is something we don't face day to day as a human. You definitely do, but it is something very different, and that is why I find your page to be absolutely fascinating.
Yeah. Thank you.
So just my compliments on that, because what you're doing is very different and I really enjoy that. So when we talked offline a few weeks back, and we were just setting this meeting up, you said something very profound. You said that the world says that the beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, right? But that is not necessarily the case in real life. In real life, one's personality and one's existence itself is excessively judged by the way they appear. And that's just how humans are hardwired to perceive each others. each other. So, what can you say something about that, or like what do you feel about that?
Well, I think golden ratio or perfect proportions, whether it is on the face or on the whole body, is by and large very appealing to humans because that's got to do with evolution. If you look at famous sculptors, Michelangelo, great painters, you know, Da Vinci, all these people use these proportions to perfection, even in Mona Lisa or so many other aspects of art that you see. Now, the common adage that beauty lies with the eye of the beholder is still true to a great extent, but there are so many fundamental aspects to this beauty. Okay, so anything random does not actually appeal to human eye. This is what science has now revealed. But the Greeks, interestingly, knew this 2000 years ago, or even before that. So they called this ratio as psi, which is nothing but a ratio which is actually length by breadth should be around 1.618 roughly. Okay, so this was like an appealing ratio to the human eye. And they realized that everything in nature that the humans were getting attracted to or that humans found was very beautiful generally fit in some form of repetition of the ratios. And the same parallel being drawn onto the human face that I specialize. So, yes, I don't deny that it is in the eye of the beholder, but today we can chisel out this beauty. We can see where is this ratio that's not matching up, then you can just alter that. We can adjust that. We can just tweak it a bit to get that extra aesthetic appeal. And so that's where science comes in. That's what fascinates me. And this is also not very ancient in this in or not very old. It's kind of a new field wherein, if you really look at it, we have so many organ specific specialists today. You have a heart specialist, a kidney specialist, ear nose throat specialist, dentist, and so on. But honestly, I think there should be a face specialist because there's so many intricacies on the face, especially when you talk of aesthetics and function. And for one, when patients come to me seeking aesthetic improvement, I try to tell them that I go by a philosophy of the facial aesthetic beauty triad. And on this triad, yes, you have golden ratio, yes, you have golden proportions that I was just talking to you about, but there are two things that are even more significantly important.
Okay.
The one which is more important than this is the facial symmetry. So we don't like asymmetry on the face if it's more than a very minute one. And the most important thing is function. So if face is the area where a lot of functions are happening, even the
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
functions of sight, smell, chewing, eating, opening, yawning, all the functions take precedence over just aesthetic. So generally, if you see, when you have to take care of someone's face, I try to tell them, look, this is my hierarchy. I wouldn't want to give priority to your ratios more than your function. Function takes precedence over the other two, followed by symmetry and then ratio. So, this is why I'm trying to tell you this is because I think there would be some audience. Everyone wants to look beautiful, but we cannot get beauty at the expense of function.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell my patients time and again, okay, we're going to make sure your functions are all perfect for a healthy, good quality of living. And within that frame, whatever improvement we can do, we will do it. We will take you up that rungs of aesthetic beauty. Like everyone can be Aishwarya Rai, but even she needs some tweaking because then she gets that much more better. That's the kind of the idea or the concept I think I would want people to get into or understand.
Okay, so you have opened some threads here, like some are discussing function and some are discussing aesthetics. Let me ask some questions regarding aesthetics first, and I do have some questions regarding function also down here with me. So, have you seen a changing aesthetic appeal through geography and through time both? Because in some tribes in Africa, elongated necks, or I don't know if I'm using the correct terminologies, but elongated lips or big hold ears, they might be found appealing, and in some other places something else. So is that true for the modern world also, or is the modern world more globalized in that appeal or that respective want from aesthetics in the face?
I, for one, make this statement very often that I make noses, I make chins for faces, not standard in the sense you got to make the face suit or match the race, the age, the sex, and everything because these surgeries should not look unnatural. That should blend. Now, I'll give you an example. So, when you get Caucasians, they like to have thick lips, though they have thin lips.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a lot of South Indian patients here who want thin lips while they have thick lips. I have a lot of difficulty explaining to these patients that look, your lips are awesome. It matches your face. Don't touch it, please. I'm not going to do it for you. Yes, there are instances where we can reduce and it would match well, but I turn down more than I turn in. I tell them, even look at my lips. It doesn't look that bad. It suits my face. If I'm going to have thin lips, it's not really going to suit my face. My nose is not as sharp. My bones on the cheek are not as chiseled like you would have a Caucasian. So definitely, see, people look at aesthetics, but when you explain to them, कि भाई देखो, this is your race.
Mm-hmm.
तो यहाँ पे this is what we do. Same with rhinoplasties. So we call it Asian rhinoplasties, actually according to the Western books. But
So what is it? What is rhinoplasty?
rhinoplasty is a cosmetic surgery on the nose. Like we
Okay.
change the shape
Okay.
of the nose. Yeah, nose job. Most commonly done aesthetic procedure on the face world over.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think I was just explaining your question. So
Yeah. Sorry for interrupting you. You were talking about Asian rhinoplasty.
Asian rhinoplasty. What I'm trying to say is, yes, there's a lot of uh, race-specific aesthetics which you shouldn't get confused with. Some of the patients don't know in depth. They just say probably I want to look like Hrithik Roshan or Salman Khan or Angelina Jolie. So it's up to the surgeon or up to the person who's treating them to educate them. A lot of the people get influenced by movies and models and stuff. So, yeah, they do ask. Even yesterday, I had a patient from Hyderabad. He wants me to give him exactly Salman Khan's nose. So, yeah, this is, because youngsters are in that kind of, you have to educate them. And when you educate them, when you talk to them for a while, I've seen 60-70% of them understand and they take it correctly. But there are some people who, you don't educate them, and so then they're bound to think like that. So definitely, your question is pertinent. I think the simple one-line answer is people do try to, get influenced by media people, especially actors, actresses, or models. But when you educate them, I've seen a lot of them do understand, and then they say, "Okay, हाँ, ये सच है डॉक्टर, आप जो बोल रहे हो ठीक है." So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that answered it well. Uh, how do you perceive and reflect on the taboo of plastic surgery in the middle class of India? I don't know if there is any. I don't have any hard data to prove it. But anecdotally speaking, I think a lot of us would be able to relate very well regarding the taboo that revolves around plastic surgery or not facial reconstruction per se, but plastic surgery. Let's say. Have you experienced any?
Yes, there is a lot of taboo, I have to say. But before I get into that, I want to make a disclosure that is, I'm not a aesthetic or cosmetic surgeon alone. I'm more of a reconstructive craniofacial surgeon, which means I want to give people with any deformity a beautiful face. I'm not interested in trying to tweak a very beautiful face already, though I do it, but that's not really my core specialty and my expertise. A lot of people can do that, but there aren't a lot of people in the world who can fix really messed up faces, and that requires different level of skills and different skill sets and training, and that's my real core of specialization. Now, to get to the taboo, if, for instance, anyone is born with a defect, any defect, it be on the face, an oblique cleft, a birth defect, a cleft lip, there is no taboo. Everyone wants to get it fixed. We all feel sad for the kid and the whole family, the whole village. Everyone is supportive. We have so many non-governmental organizations, our government, everyone supports, and we get that, no issues. The taboo comes in when the people want to get some surgery when they're already aesthetic. And so I think there is some truth to this also. A youngster who's in his late teens wants to get a nose like Salman Khan's, and his parents are like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. So they're trying to say it's a taboo. So I think it's good that there is some amount of restriction in the society, so people don't just go and do anything they want to do, like in the US with their own whims and fancies, and then just become a plastic surgery hippie. From one they would do two, from two they would do three. Yeah, I might make good money out of them, but I think they are not doing justice to what they're here in this world for, just to do a few surgeries back and back forth. I don't think that's the right thing. The next group of people are people who say that this is God given face, डॉक्टर खुदा ने दिया है तो हमें इसमें कुछ नहीं बदलना है. So I say, okay, that's a good thing. If you have good self esteem, I myself say, you looking good, don't worry. If you think you're good, you feel great about yourself, you don't need any procedure. So the parents feel that, but the kids don't feel. Or the husband feels that wife doesn't feel. So the taboo affects the other person sometimes. What I think is, if the person having the concern, that is important for us. So that is the important thing. But yes, there is a lot of taboo. In the developed or the educated societies, the taboos are less. So, like, where I practice, so it's in Kanyakumari district, not in any big city, but I'll tell you, it's 100% literate place. It's just like Kerala. So everyone understands everything. So when you tell them, so it's like, so they understand. So we get a lot of people who want to look that much better before marriage, because there's a lot of dowry system going on. They want to look prettier. The dowry comes less, so they get a better proposal. This is a big market. The second is, there are a lot of accidents, careless two-wheeler riding causing a lot of unwanted, avoidable accidents that leaves patients with a lot of scars, broken jaws, noses, things like that, that they need to be fixed. So that's another big group. And then the birth defect. And then finally, purely cosmetic, which is like hair transplantation, some chin augmentations, and some bony procedures. Yeah.
So actually, I did have, again, I wanted to ask this question, that does the Indian industrial complex of marriage contribute greatly but secretly to the number of patients that you get?
Not secretly. Yes, it's
Acha,
a
not
big,
secretly?
yeah, they're pretty, what shall I say? So parents, when they're educated, they very clearly know that their wards, if they need a surgery, they will come and they'll say, okay, doc. I, in fact, get even inquiries like this, like, what all can we do to improve my son's face? Or what is it that you can do to make my daughter more beautiful? It's happening more and more. It's probably happening more and more because more people are knowing me now, or I don't know if more people are open to this. I really can't answer that. But I am getting more and more queries every day, one or two with these kind of things, and some are really pretty. And I'm like, don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just do nothing. Okay, doctor. No, no, we went to this place in Mumbai, and doctor said ये हो सकता है. I said हाँ हो तो सकता है, लेकिन आपके लिए कुछ जरूरत नहीं है. आप खुद मत करो, आप you're fine. So that is also a group of people who are coming, who just want to take your opinion, because when you have enough resources and you have time, then you are looking, and this social media thing, Instagram, all of these things about looks. There are apps that kind of change your facial looks, and people want to look better. Therefore, yeah, so they just come and ask.
So why do you think, if there is any, why do you think that there is this vast disparity? And as you're saying, the thought processes regarding changing the aesthetics of the face might be improving or increasing. You're getting more queries day by day. But why do you think there is this disparity between different countries regarding surgery on the face? So if I'm not wrong, I think South Korea is very open to it and
Yes,
very normative to procedures like these.
yeah, because in South Korea, the people want to look more and more Caucasian. So they already, and they want to do surgeries that will make a sharp nose, change the shape of the face. They have squarish faces, so they make the face more angular, things like that. One of the reason. Secondly, South Korea is very developed, and people have money for all these kind of procedures, and they're very developed even in medical facilities, and their rates are very less, very inexpensive, compared to the Western world for the quality they offer. And I think that's why there are more people who tend to go to Korea. And I've had a few patients. One interesting case I remember, this guy was from Punjab. He went there and got a surgery, and he came back to me and he said, Doctor Saab, मुझे तो अभी मैं पंजाबी नहीं लग रहा हूँ. So little bit of those things are there. I mean, on the lighter sense, but they're good. By and large, they're good. Now, but the largest number of surgeries, unfortunately, still happens, or fortunately, happens in the US. Because, see, in India, what happens, I'll tell you, the main reason why it's not so much. Our market is youngsters, like I said, marriage age, little young or little older. But people, once they're married and 10 years into marriage, no longer or very rarely seek these procedures. While in the US, the people who want these surgeries are high continuously because they're getting high divorces, they're continuously back in the spouse market, they're looking for, that's a different culture, even the Western world. So, therefore, the patients are more. Second reason, our skin is much good. The Indian skin is more elastic. We don't get so easily freckles like the whites can get when they're in their 30. So that's why we can actually manage with lesser procedures. The Africans even lesser in terms of skin getting loose or losing its elasticity.
Is that just because of the exposure to sunlight, or are there any other factors contributing to it also?
I think mainly is genetics, the race and everything. But I mean, see, I'm 45 now, almost. I probably have two or three gray hair, and I have some of my friends who have, well, half the head is gray. So it's genetics. It's some don't have. So it's genetics mainly. Also varies between races. It's not like a universal thing. It's mainly races and genetics.
All right. So I thought I'll go onto your website. I'll look into all sorts of surgeries that you do. Maybe ask a question about it. But when I just came across the sheer number of types of surgeries that you do, I just shut it down because it was easily out of my capacity to even start. I didn't know where to start. But I would ask this, that what which surgery would you say would is the most difficult in your profession, and which surgery is the most labor intensive? Because you have highlighted that you specialize mostly in reconstruction, and your work is to save a face, and the sort of stuff that I've seen on your page, that you are trying to join this muscle there, which normally might be a difficult task to do. So which surgery scares you?
Honestly, I don't have any surgery that scares me because the way we've been trained is to do only things that we're really comfortable or really good at. Okay, so how this training process starts is you're scared initially, so you assist and then you observe and then you start doing under supervision and then you do on your own and then you get your experience. Okay, so after I finished my maxillofacial, I did a 1 year fellowship in craniofacial. This was based in Zurich. So then I've done many training after that in Taiwan, Malaysia, many places in India and all that. So these trainings, even last August, I was with this very famous and very well known rhinoplasty surgeon in Dallas. I was with him for a couple of weeks. So what I'm trying to say is when there is an area where I'm not very comfortable with, where I think I need more help, so I would go and get myself trained with that. So then you come back more confident and you say, okay, I'm going to now do this. But you don't become an expert straight away with that. You need to do a few cases before you can. So let me just tell you that what really, what shall I say, really drives me is craniofacial surgery that borders cosmetic and reconstructive. So, like for example, face makeover surgeries, like I just said when I was starting this talk with you, I had this long surgery yesterday. So, wherein I fixed the entire face for the patients in one go. So this is very satisfying because I mean, not only their face is totally changed, their whole lives is changed. The parents are amazed. Everyone around is like, "Wow, is this the same person?" And doc, what have you done? And stuff like that. So that's a very nice feeling after that. And also, it's quite challenging because you got to work on the soft tissue, hard tissue, muscle, cartilage, nerves, arteries. Yeah, so I find them challenging. I find it very, very interesting, and I also find it very, very gratifying, very satisfying to answer that question of you. So, something where I do multiple procedures on the face, like I combine many things. Yeah, so this is what I would think. This is something very few people are doing world over today. I can number it's less than 10, very few in the world.
Why is that?
Because I'll keep a person to have training in one area of face takes a long time. So if you do bony surgeries, jaw osteotomies, that takes many years. Rhinoplasty takes many years. Cosmetic takes many years, and to get exposure and training in different aspects is difficult. Traditionally, I'll give you an example. Rhinoplasty, for example, is done by plastic surgeons. So many plastic surgeries. Plastic means anything that's moldable, generally refers to skin and the muscle. While the bony work was done by maxillofacial surgeons. So you had already, and then the ENT surgeons came in and did so many things on the nose, the throat, and speech. So now I'm telling you three surgeons already. For young kids, it was pediatric surgeons who used to do it. So now I'm telling you four. So multiple specialists were handling niches and parts of the face in different age groups. So you need to have a wider spectrum and a larger experience to cover all of that and integrate all that learning expertise with the muscle, bone, nerve, and everything in one go for the patient at one time. Yeah, that I think is where I actually did my training with a very famous Swiss maxillofacial surgeon. His name is Professor Hermann Zeiler. Also, my professors in India are very well known. Professor K.S. Rao from Mangalore, but he was in the UK also. So these people were revolution. I mean, they really revolutionized these kind of surgeries. So I remember assisting a surgery with my prof in Zurich once, a spy who had come in, he came
Oh.
in from Italy to Zurich, and it was like 11-hour surgery, changing this whole face. And this was in 2002 when I was there. And it's 2020. It's a long way to go, I went for many, many trainings, many thousand years of many thousand surgeries. And then, yeah, I still haven't reached probably where he is. But my goal is to do better in the years to come with more experience. And now medicine also helps us. Back then, it was an ordeal to give longer periods of anesthesia. Now we're able to give longer anesthesia, safer. We have better anesthesia that causes lesser bleeding and lesser issues. So a 5-hour surgery, we lose 500 ml of blood today after doing the whole phase, for example. So it's very safe. No blood transfusion, nothing. The patient walks, talks, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the overall development in the medical field, the safety standards, all of that has helped us also to do more and more.
So you are answering my questions before I ask them, because because my next question was that, okay, let me just ask it. So talking about your skills in your own profession, I would be the worst judge to say anything because I know nothing about it. But as your work can does revolve around aesthetics a lot, even if we take into account the function of the face, I have found your results, you put out some photos of the recovery that has been done by your patients, that the recovery that happened for some time, and they seem to look incredibly clean and well developed. So you already talked about it a little, how like you have been attending thousands of surgeries, and you never let go of an opportunity to learn something new. Would you attribute your skills to mostly practice and experience, or are there other factors too?
All right. So I think the first thing is practice and hard work. That I think is a core for any surgeon to do well. But there's also something called finesse, or it's a special, unique skill set every individual has that cannot be transferred. It's innate, it's to you, it's yours, it's God given, it's just for you, no one else gets it. Those also play a factor when you start doing a lot of aesthetic and other procedures on the face or anywhere else. That's why you will see all through history that no two painters are the same and no two sculptors are the same. Results vary even though they had the same guru, stuff like this. So, yes, but I really think that is a factor. But I would give less importance to that and more importance to hard work, perseverance, and passion. Like for me, as I say the word passion, I get goosebumps right now. It's something that I love. What Dr. Abdul Kalam says, that it's not something what you get when you sleep your dreams. It doesn't let you sleep. So when that kind of passion is there, when you want to excel and you work hard, when time is nothing, then I think you eventually get there because it comes out of your excitement, your joy, your happiness. It's not drudgery. It's not boring hard work. This is the key, really. Everyone has a specific, unique skill sets that can then become a finesse, that can then become their own. But if they don't spend their time and invest it in the areas that they're very passionate about, that gives them a kick every day in and day out. then I think they will not come out to be very excellent professionals. So if these two things come together, if you have the passion, if you're ready to work hard, and then of course everyone has those different skill sets. And usually I've seen, if you have a skill in a particular thing, you tend to like it also. Like, tell me honestly, I mean, I like playing many sports,
Mm-hmm.
but I like cricket, I like football. I like football more to watch, honestly, but I don't like to play football as much because my skills aren't so good. So on a particular evening, if I was given the choice to bat or to play football, I would go and play cricket. So that is, I think, how we human beings are. So those are the factors I think that are more important. This is a very good question. I'm very happy answering it because if youngsters listen to this, um, they should realize they can do it also, and they can do it even better.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's always that you can do better than someone who's done it before. So that should be enough motivation and enough inspiration that they can do better stuff.
So talking about professionalism, not professionalism, but the profession and the excitement that you get from it. Do you are you still do you still come across cases that surprise you?
Yes, always. Yeah, profession. It's always like that, because medicine itself is not like pure
Mm-mm. It is,
math.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
1 plus 1 never makes two. So we always see different cases. We all, like, even if you see the case I posted the day before, there was a patient who had two extra nerves. That is very rare from one foramen. So we keep seeing variations, and that excites me because nature is so diverse. It excites you, but you got to be careful also because you don't want to cut that extra thing and cause that problem for the patient. So with experience, you're looking also for those kind of variations subtly. Okay, maybe there is something not very normal here. So yeah, there are. I keep seeing that all the time. That's why it gets interesting, and that's why it's not so boring. Every patient is different.
I'm just trying to visualize and imagine what sort of challenges that you might come across. They might be so diverse because not just with the sort of form, like there will definitely be a difference in form, right? One disfigurement might be different from another, and one accident might be different from another. But have there been cases where you had nowhere to refer to, nowhere to look at, and then like are there cases where you have to innovate something like at that time itself? Has that happened?
Yes. So, what tends to happen is like this. So, when you're doing multiple surgeries, you learn a lot of techniques to manage a particular situation. But if there's a new situation that arises, so out of your experience, you're able to manage. But when you're less experienced, there is an issue. I had one instance many years ago, I can tell you now. I think it was in the year 2005 or 6, if it was 4 years or something. I had a large lesion on the patient's face. This was a hemangioma, a vascular lesion. So I was operating at this big hospital in Nagarcoil, and yeah, everything was planned and done, but suddenly there was unexpected bleeding. And so I did a lot of stuff. We tried to stop the bleeding. It didn't work. We thought we were going to lose the patient. And the anesthetist, we gave about 9 units of blood, and nothing was working. It took 3 or 4 hours. And finally, my anesthesiologist, before that, I'd already called the vascular surgeon, the general surgeon of the hospital. All of them were there trying to do and stop the bleeding. It wouldn't stop. It was just bleeding profusely from the cheek and from the whole upper face. And I was really tired, and my anesthesiologist told me, "Look, don't worry, you've done your best. Just get off from here, take your gloves. I've got hot coffee for you, have coffee." And I just came out, I had coffee, and I just made this quick prayer. I said, "Lord, I don't know. I'm trying my best, save this patient. That's all I can say." And it's I don't know if it's a prayer, maybe, but when I was having the 2 sips of coffee, I didn't finish, something just told me that pack the face with a lot of gauze and just leave it now. Like, don't try to stop the bleeding now. Just try to wait. So I stopped the coffee, went inside, wore my gloves again, scrubbed in, and there was this assistant of mine and general surgeon there. I said, "We're not going to try to stop the bleeding now. We tried this for too long. This is a losing battle. The only thing we're going to try is to try to do this fight tomorrow. We will postpone the fight. So we got this huge packs, bone wax, many things, and we packed the face. And I put tight bandages covering the patient's face, nose, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we stopped the bleeding on that moment. But we couldn't extubate. That is, the patient was on a ventilator.
Okay. Okay.
We couldn't remove this because patient would die. So the anesthetist said we will keep it, and now everybody is tired, and let us stabilize the patient. This now we've stopped the bleeding, so we're not losing blood. So we're going to put the patient back. They also need time to maintain the electrolytes and stabilize the patient.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this was already now evening, I think about 5 or 6. So they did this all night. The anesthesiologist and the intensive care people took care of the patient. They stabilized the patient, got the pressures to normal, everything, and the next day morning we took the patient again. The patient was already in the tube like a minute later. So we took the patient back into the OR. I was there, my anesthesiologist, my surgeon, and another surgeon we had called from a nearby city whom I knew from Tirunelveli. And we said, okay, let's try it now. And we said, okay, we're going to do this. We had a plan, everything. And we made the same things that we tried yesterday, clamping the vessel, all those things also were ready. And would you believe we opened up and we succeeded in 30 minutes?
Oh wow.
Yeah, and the patient lives today. She's now in her 60s and she lives and she can do everything. She has a bad scar there, like a big depression that's probably an inch deep because we had to smash the bone and all that, so it's pretty bad. But I said, look, this is your second life. We're not going to do anything more with you. But this is one instance where I remembered that sometimes when you try something, but that instance, it just, I got the thing by having coffee and relaxing. Sometimes when something happens, I try to, your brain automatically thinks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a war situation because of experience. It just comes back and tells you, try this. No, it doesn't work. Try this. No, this is this like that. So by the time you try the other alternatives, it eventually works.
Yeah, I think intuition builds with experience as well.
Yeah, so this was one experience, that I can quote when you ask that question. Yes, but I've not had one like that after that, fortunately, and I hope not to have it too also. But you never know.
But it's very interesting to listen to that because it sounds so scary because when we
It was very scary for me also. Even now, when I think it was just God's grace that the whole thing worked out for that patient, but also it was our presence of mind that we stopped that thing and tried an alternative method.
Mhm.
You see, this sometimes does the trick. And then everybody's trying in the same channel, same idea. If there's another way, out of the box thinking sometimes just saves the day for you. And yeah, that also I think helps, definitely helps surgeons.
The part that fascinates me and scares me at the same time is that when I decide to let my project go on for tomorrow, when I say that okay, I'll deal with it tomorrow, what I'm doing is I'm just shutting off a computer monitor. What you guys do, you actually have a life going on in the background that you have to think about, and I don't know how
That was just that particular case, but generally otherwise we turn our monitors off as well. I
yes.
mean, we can't live otherwise, right? We are also human beings and we need to take rest and everything. So on rare cases, rare days, yes, we do work, but yeah, but otherwise, if you don't take enough rest, then you can't do your best.
So, in some of your videos, I've seen you harvesting bits of ribs and cartilage. So, why is that done?
All right. So we do a lot of reconstructive procedures, cosmetic procedures. A lot of the patients, in India, South Indian patients especially, have very flat noses, very broad noses. So they like to have that nose lifted up with the bone. So we need some extra bone, and the best place to go to is the rib or the leg or the iliac crest. So that's where you harvest both of these.
So, is it because you wouldn't want to use any external material with the thought that the body might reject it, and that is why parts intrinsic to the body might be better?
Well, autograft, that is from the patient's body, is the best even today.
Okay.
The next thing is you take from a donor. So the same species. So if you take from another human being, but you need to go through some process.
Okay.
So there is this company called as Musculoskeletal Foundation or One Cell. They make this tissue transplant available for us. It's not yet available in India, but it's available in the US. So when I also work out of Stanford, I'm a visiting professor there, I go there at least once. So my friends and colleagues, they give me this tissue transplant here, so that I can use, right? I'm giving an example. Likewise, we also have rib now available for last couple of weeks in the US, but we don't have it available in India. So if you that was available, you just have to order the rib that is from a human donor, and then that can be used without harvesting, right? Because that's irradiated rib. That's the best.
Okay, okay.
The next best thing is you can use porcine or animal or artificial hydroxyapatite and everything. Those have indications. I use them too. If you're putting a dental implant, you can use them and the quantity is less. But when you need for areas like the nose, the cartilage works the best in many areas because it's very supple and it nicely takes the shape. It doesn't resorb. So depending on the procedure, for example, if I'm doing something on the mandible, I would need bone, I would take from the iliac crest. I can use some hydroxyapatite substitutes, yeah, different things.
Mm-hmm.
So, based on what the procedure is, there are some things that are really better than the other. And so I'd go for the best there. So that's why you can, and now harvesting the rib is a very, many people don't do it again in India because they think it's a major procedure. But there are techniques that make it less invasive. And if you can master it, you can do it in 20 minutes. I do it maximum in 20 minutes.
Oh,
So it's really not a big deal. And so I think patient gets the best with that 20 minutes. You don't lose much. Instead of me taking a foreign material, there is always a chance of rejection. How much ever better the foreign materials are, the pharmaceutical companies, everybody will push and sell these products, but no one knows what this product will do after 5 decades or 4 decades because it was just manufactured some decades or some couple of years ago.
oh, so the rejection can happen after some time also.
We never know, right? So how do you know? See, if they will tell you. So I'll give you examples. We used to use stainless steel plates when I finished my training a lot. They said it will work well. Stainless steel is stainless steel. Kuch nahi hoga.
Mm-hmm.
But we see that in some areas on the mandible and all, it causes issues. So many patients we had to go in and remove it. So an extra procedure for the
Oh,
patient.
oh my God.
है ना, तो it's like that, nothing very severe, but फिर भी एक
Mm-hmm.
सर्जरी हो गया extra. So why do that?
Mm-hmm.
If you can avoid an extra procedure, avoid it पहले ही. So out of experience and out of expert experience, and this is a uniform thing world over that people do. So that's why I think, because we need to look at long term goals for most of our patients. And so and the scar also is very, very visible, hardly visible. And if it's a female patient, it's not visible at all because like an inframammary incision, no one can make out the scar later on. So if it's a guy, a small line will be there. Yeah.
So when somebody talks about a plastic surgery, there is no plastic involved. It is just tissues from other parts of the body.
Plastic refers to anything that's moldable, as I mentioned earlier.
Okay, okay.
So when you say plastic surgery, it means the surgeon is a specialist or he's good at handling anything in the body that's moldable, which
Ah,
is skin, fat, and muscle to a certain extent. Bone is not plastic. People who handle the bone are called orthopedic or orthognathic, yeah, or orthodontic, orthos bone. So yeah, that's why I was saying in the phase you have both. I handle both the soft tissue part of it and the hard tissue part of it. And that's why there aren't many people who do that well because the training backgrounds are different for both.
so I read somewhere, I might be wrong, that surgeons, maxillofacial surgeons also need to train in giving anesthetics. Is that true?
Not in India. We have short training, so we know
Okay,
uh, what to do, especially with general anesthesia. We need a general anesthesiologist,
okay,
but local anesthesia, we are trained.
okay.
So I could for example, I can numb the whole face with a few injections. We don't need you to get you general anesthesia. So that helps a lot of the patients, but certain areas we can't do that, so we need to give general anesthesia. So we are trained in local anesthesia, but not trained in general anesthesia. So we need an anesthesiologist with us.
So, talking of training, do you think India handles the training of future professionals well? Like, do you think India is doing it right? And of course, it might change from institute to institute and state to state and city to city. But what is the general consensus?
My opinion is like this. I'm a big India fan, and I
Okay.
think India is doing well, no matter what people around tell me or they think it is. With regards to maxillofacial surgery, India is definitely doing well, and we are one of the leaders in the world, if not the leaders. Many surgeons from across the world come over even to me and to many other people in India for training. I have done my grand rounds visiting professorship in Stanford and Yale, both plastic surgery leading institutes in the US. So I think, and I'm not the only one. There are other surgeons also who are doing it because they get see only if they get a value out of you. These universities call you. They don't
Mm-hmm.
call you if they don't benefit. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
benefit them. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm trying to say. India is doing very well. The other thing is India is still a lot of freedom. The best thing about India is it's a free country and it's also a lot of freedom for surgeons. And when there is freedom, there is a lot of growth. When you make a lot of rules, when you restrict everything with privileges and everything, the growth also gets that much more hampered and stunted.
Mm-hmm.
So India is having very good medical professionals. We actually, I've done surgeries in over 30 countries as of now. I've
Mm-hmm.
gone for missions with many US organizations, Spanish organizations to Africa, Spain, Bulgaria, many places of the world. And I'll tell you very, very honestly, Indian surgeons are one of the best, if
Wow.
not the best. And in the US, no, honestly, if people don't know, they should know. Like how Indian software engineers are so good, I think Indian physicians are even better.
Wow.
Every white or every American in the US sees if his physician is an Indian origin. Absolutely. Yeah. They're the best.
Wow.
Because they're really above than there are the other people there. It's because we are growing in an environment here where there's fighting and competition for everything from driving on the road to drinking water to buying a bus ticket.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in a country like US, I'm like you just swallow the rest because you have so much opportunity to excel. You are grown and bred in tough situations. When you get the right situation, you just excel. So Indian physicians are definitely, I think, very very good. It's I think in us to learn well, intellect also, but also the willingness to learn is also there. Some of
Mm-hmm.
the surgeons can get very arrogant, very, in many other societies, while Indians are not like that by and large.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and we also have this culture that is very important for a physician. Our culture is so strong, that we still value elders. We think that we have to give respect to somebody older than us. So many of
Mm-hmm.
these things, human values much, much more in our culture. And when it comes to being a physician, that in you're born and brought up here, you have the same cultures at the
Yep.
end of the day, right? So
Yep.
it pains me when once in a while some some beating up or something like that happens in India. But honestly, I'll tell you, my biggest reason, I'm a Omani resident also. I have a Omani card. I have practiced out of Oman. I have license to practice there, and the hospital there want me to practice more and more time. But till March, I was going there only 5 days a month, and now I've not been going since lockdown. The only reason I go there is money because they pay much more, and I don't want to charge more here in India where people can't afford. So that's the only reason. But the joy and the satisfaction I get here is 10 times more. Here, the patients will pay you whatever you ask, also very humbly, nicely, and still they will worship you like God. There, they will treat you like a service professional and then not even treat you well.
I was going to ask this, that is there, do you still find that there is a reverence towards
Yes,
doctors in India?
very much. A lot is there in India, even now. People are saying it's changing and everything. Let me tell you my experience working in India. I've been an Apollo consultant. I've worked in Apollo Goa. I worked in Chennai Apollo. I worked in Apollo Madurai for a short time. I worked in corporate hospitals in Chennai also before I went to Muscat. I worked in Tuticorin, Trivandrum, Nagarkoil, Bangalore. So all of these places, one thing in India is really, really, amazing. We still have that culture strong. There's no doubt about that. Yes, maybe you go to a smaller city, that is the greater reverence is there. IT people do ask you more questions. That is okay. But still they are reverend. They might ask more questions because they're used to that, They want to know everything. But doesn't mean they don't respect you. At the end of it, they really respect you. I think comparatively than let's say my patients from Europe or my patients from Muscat or my patients from the US.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big difference, honestly. So if it's for a normal common man, is thinking that what's happening to physicians in India? I think physicians in India are still lucky, still happy by and large. See, we are a population of 1.2 billion. I mean, one or two mishaps will happen. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Does the press put the good things that the doctors tell? Nahi. They will put, that doesn't happen. They can ask me, I will tell them how many gifts I get from patients, from fishes to iPad, and from dinners to.
But that news won't sell, right? So
That's the bad part of the media. But they are projecting that one incident wherein a million good incidents happen. So one incident is negligible. You should not consider it. Because it's still like that. I really think that doesn't change, okay? Because if that were to change, then I think there's you start working differently. As a physician, we need to have freedom, and it's not be like, what if the patient sues me? The first question, in the US people get is, okay, I got to protect myself first.
yeah,
What do
yeah.
I do for that first? पहला मुझे संभालना है. I got to. That is human being. That's an evolutionary thing.
Mm.
We wouldn't have been 8 million strong or 8 billion strong in this world if it was not that we wanted to take care of ourselves, being selfish and protect us. So when you make rules like that, physician first wants to protect himself.
Mm-hmm.
He will never take a risk, even little bit, even that risk is going to benefit that patient. If there is a risk for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I told you already, physician life, or it's not arithmetic. It's not 1 plus 1 is never 2.
Correct,
For
correct.
one patient, it's 1 plus 1 is 4. Another patient, it's 1.23, anything. So that's why the freedom helps in India. And in Tamil Nadu, it's really good. Because I've worked in other places also. I think comparatively, the government supports, because these are things that are needed. I'm not saying it's bad in another city, but in a big city like Bangalore, for example, it's not that easy. They don't support doctors so much to have your own small establishments. They want corporates to take over. So when a corporate system comes, the culture comes in. Doctor is looking at the patient then because the HR is telling you, or the team head tells, they have told me many times, okay, doctor, so this month the target is 15 patients, 12 surgeries, and X amount. I'm like, look, none of this shit will work with me. Just back off. Or I'll talk to the MD or I'll leave. But how many people can do this? Many doctors who don't because they are scared they will lose their job. So that's why I'm saying the freedom helps.
I
That
think
you do it.
borrowing the concept of asking questions from it exists in India also, but questioning the teacher or the elder or the doctor is not. It helps one against exploitation, but
Yes.
as you said, the doctor having a sense of safety gets that margin to move around and to innovate. Like, as you said, as you pointed out, it would never happen in a place like US because they'll be so scared to do anything out of the books, other than the books, because there might be a chance of they themselves getting harmed.
And also the costs get high. For example, now my cover is much less here than in the US, for example, because every time there's a fear that somebody would sue you, and then you want to protect yourself, so you take these insurance policies. Again, somebody else is making money, then that insurance policy, so if you have a case, so you pay for that. So see, it's all waste. Patient is paying to the insurance company, that's a waste. Anyway, that's a system. So that's not in India, which is a good thing, is what I'm trying to say.
I again, you have started to answer the next question that I was going to ask,
Okay.
but that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I wanted to ask that why is there such a huge disparity between the costs of a medical procedure abroad, and abroad I particularly mean the US, and something like in India? Is it changing in India for the worse, or what do you think is happening?
Okay, this is, I think, what I touched upon a little earlier about this corporate setups. Corporate setups are there only to make huge sums of money. They use doctors and surgeons just like employers, and we're given targets and they try to meet it. Now, therefore, they hike up the prices. I just got a bill few days ago. One patient was admitted in a hospital in Chennai. I won't tell you details, but they stayed for 16 days in a COVID ward. patient has COVID positive, so was staying in a hospital for 16 days. Nothing much was done, but the bill came to 4.8 lakhs, and the patient had real issues paying up the money. Nothing was done. This was a corporate hospital, and they do this because they think there's an opportunity to make money. So they have billed the patient for 10 PPs per day into 16 days, and so on and so forth, putting each PP at 2,000 rupees. So there can be no limit at these kind of things. So I think what is ideal is you leave one side like the way it is, because capitalism or this kind of thing also makes the whole society better.
Yeah,
People
yeah, of course, of
strive for
course.
betterness. So I'm not complaining about this. This is existing because of the corporate setup. But the government should also provide the same quality for free. Now, the absolute classical best example of this exists in the small country of Oman, where I
Okay,
practice.
okay.
The Oman government setups are number one, none to second to none. They're better than the one in the US. Government, totally free, everything latest, best physicians from India or other parts of the world taking care of their patients for free. They also have private hospitals. I work in the largest chain there called Star Care. They're like five-star private hospital, the biggest in the country, where the consultation fee itself is about 30 riyals, which is like 100 US dollars for a 15-minute slot. So it can be that much variation within the same country, but there are people who go for here also, go there also. Anyone who wants to go for the free, he can go there. But if for some reason he thinks he wants to have a second opinion, or he has money and his $100 is not much for him, or it's near his house, or he thinks that person is whatever reason he goes here, freedom is there. So India is something like that. Only thing the private setup is much more developed in these higher end surgeries and higher end issues. But Nagarkoil, where I live in Kanyakumari district, I have to say this definitely. There are many private hospitals here. This is a medical hub. There are private hospitals in this town of 200,000 only since the last 75 years, before independence. So it's a
Wow.
very unique city in the whole world. Maybe there
Oh.
are very few places like this in the country, not in the country for sure, in the world. But the interesting thing is, we have a government facility here, which is like five-star.
Ah.
It's really, really, really good. So patients can go there and get everything in nice wards, which is all marble floored and nice rooms and everything. So they can choose that, or they can go to so many of the private setups and get their treatment done. But unfortunately, this is not the same in many Indian district headquarters. I know few district headquarters which are not so good. Tirunelveli not as good. Some not so good. Trivandrum is excellent. Kerala is very good, excellent by large. But the big cities, Bangalore, dismal. I mean, where is the government setup that equals Columbasia or Apollo or something? Show me that. But they should have same facilities in 10 government setups. Instead, the government is only wanting them to, take some insurance and go there. And when that happens, what happens is the corporate people fleece the people, increase the rate, make more money, and because people have no option. So to manage this, if the government takes their own thing high, automatically these people will come down. They have no option. They cannot be high. So I think that's where the balance is. Or you can put a rule on the corporates saying this is what it is, but they will, flout it, and they will. It's a different world. I don't know much to say about that, but in reality, this is what is happening. And so, I have many issues with patients. Let me just tell you this: they go to big hospitals like Max or so many big hospitals, and they meet a doctor there, and then the doctor tells them something. They get the surgery done, and they're not happy. They get botched up results. This is not one or two patients. I'm doing a lot. You see my profile, a lot of it is revision. Patients are poor people. They think a big corporate hospital doctor has to be good. And they're showing morphed pictures on the computer. अच्छा ऐसा हो जाएगा, ऐसा कर देंगे आपको, फिक्र मत करो. They believe and they get it done. बाद में ऐसा नहीं आया, but they've already taken all the signatures and everything कि कुछ नहीं कर पाएंगे ये लोग. Then they're seeking for revision. So sometimes it does happen that the best talents are not there at the biggest hospitals in the biggest cities. So patients or individuals, we must do some research. See, everybody buys shoes, shirts. Everyone sees, okay, मुझे Alan Solly चाहिए or this I want. We decide and buy. Same thing with any medical thing you should do. You should not blindly. I'm not saying I don't believe in a doctor, not like that. But definitely, it's a advice to anyone listening कि look at 2 3 options. कुछ नहीं होता, आपको कुछ नहीं बिगड़ेगा. It's not like what is wrong. There's nothing wrong. But then you know yourself what's happening correctly, and then go and get the thing, the person or the treatment that you think is most right. As long as you can think. So I think that is a thing we should do more and more.
Being informed more about what they are trying to opt for is a really big problem, I think, that the Indians suffer, because first of all, because of the literacy, and because of just resources that they can get to. And hopefully the people who listen to this might be might be a little more aware towards it. And so, talking of government facilities, I have not had the fortune to visit Nagarcoil, but I have stayed in Kerala for 2 years, and I must say that the government facilities were astounding. They were so good. I never even thought of visiting a private clinic or a private doctor or a private hospital.
Absolutely. It's very true in many places, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure that it will definitely change from state to state and city to city, and their governance and how they take care of their government facilities. But do you think Indian government as a whole is doing a good job? I think that will be a very complicated question to ask.
Yeah, I think so that I don't know about India. I cannot make a statement, but in our district and locally where I'm staying, the last 3 4 months, the government has done a lot of good work. Yeah, yes, definitely. I mean, we cannot take anything from them. I have so many friends at the government hospital. I know literally 20, 30 surgeons, doctors, everyone. They've done a fabulous job. See, this is a scenario of a pandemic which is not known to anyone. It just spreads, Wildfire can be contained, yes, to an extent that we humanly can. That's all. But they've done a fabulous job with the resources that we have, the mechanisms that they've set up. It has, in fact, made me to think that probably or definitely we're better than the US in this particular regard. So I don't know again if this is happening all across the country. I don't even know if this is happening in Chennai. I do know something was happening in Bangalore. They've done a good job there as well. Here they've done a very good job. And see, for example, if the patient comes with fever to a private hospital, the private hospital has to inform the government setup. Straight away, they can get a COVID done, and if it's positive, they go to the government setup and stay in there. They take them over and put them in the facility. So if there's a quarantine, government has made clear, determined quarantines. If the cases are increasing, beforehand they're saying, okay, this is going to be a next quarantine facility. So they've been doing well. The only thing that the government doesn't know is where it's going to go. We really don't know when the cases will stop. With this COVID thing particularly, because we're having this issue current. I thought it's pertinent to say, and they've done a very good job. I have to say, I don't know how they could have done better than this. So much education, police helping around, and very interesting thing. This I think I should tell. So if they catch kids, or if let's say they had kids are playing cricket, or they're running around in a groups in that areas, mohalla, so the police are catching them suddenly, suppose, and then they tell them, okay, do you know what is the rule now? Some of them say no, some of them say yes. They make them all sit at about 2 meters apart or something. Everybody is given a paper and pen and they're asked to answer questions about COVID and what the government is doing. And they write imposition. And you know what? These kids are like, well, 10 years, 14 years, whatever age. But they're like, police are coming, they'll try to run, they'll catch them and they'll say, sit and write.
That's such a nice way to go about it.
Yeah, it works. I think it works to a certain extent. They're educating them, they're taking pains, not only beating up people. That is also happening. I'm not saying sometimes people need beatings because they don't understand otherwise.
I like how nuanced our conversation is, because at one point you're criticizing Bangalore for being abysmal in government facilities, but on the other hand, you're also praising them for handling the COVID situation better than the rest. So I like these sort of conversations where it is not just black and white. And especially in the cases of in the medical field, everything is so gray. It can change just like that from place to place. So I'm really enjoying this conversation. I have two, three more questions if it is okay for you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I had a question about big pharma. I just wanted to ask whether are you aware of any or how the government is handling the inquisition by pharmaceutical companies to exploit the population? Does that happen? Have you seen that happening? Because once the Walmart of the medicine arrives, local businesses and the choices of the people go out of the window. Have you seen that happening? And you have any thoughts on that?
I think it's in the process of happening, but it's happening slowly and surely. And I'm not for it, but that I think depends on the government, what they take decisions up in the center. When they're privatizing things and giving all power to few big players, it will be something like in the US again, where you have one Walmart, you have one Amazon, you have one KFC, one big guys and many people working under them. So that makes local businesses suffer. Unfortunately, it also takes that flavor of life away. I hate to travel between two different cities in the US because the name changes, everything else remains the same. And
Mm-hmm.
in India, it's so much different.
It is so
And
different.
yeah, it's good. We need to have these things in place, not the same pharma every, because if you have many players, competition will bring things down.
Yeah, yeah, and it is always good for the people.
Yes, I think so. But unfortunately, these are the decisions of the government. I personally think they should have many players to play in, not just one player and make that guy super big and the rest all very small. But I don't know what the Indian government is doing. I think they're doing the best for the country. That's what I'm hoping. I'm not an expert in that field, so I let them make the choices.
It feels good to hear that, because it is a little reassuring in today's world of pessimism. I find
I'm looking at it like this, See, I'm now. I have the opportunity to live anywhere else in India, as I told you. I have licenses to practice in Maldives, Seychelles, and Oman right now.
wow.
Yeah, and also people keep calling me in the US for. I don't have license to do surgeries, but I'm a visiting professor. I can go there for doing many things. So, but I love here because I have seen in the last decade or 3 decades. I'm 44 now. I've only seen improvement happening in India. Let me tell you one of the few things. Like I studied in Mangalore. I grew up in Bangalore. I'm more a Kannadiga at heart, though I'm living in Tamil Nadu. My wife is a Goan. I know Hindi, Tamil, Malayalam. There's so much of flavor here, first thing. And amidst this diverse, great potpourri of our culture of ours, we still live closely well. We still are like, Are, we're so friendly. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
very unique to our country, believe me.
yeah.
So people don't know that, but they enjoy it.
They enjoy it, yeah, and they're a part of it.
And they're part of it. So it is good. And if you look at economic aspect, the number of beggars, for example, in my city, we hardly find beggars. We never find beggars.
Ah,
So
ah.
there are beggars, they get taken care of. There's no one asking for alms. There's nobody on the street. Everybody's taken care of with some load of groups. Even we see something through our Rotary Club, we make sure they reach some old age home or some home, or the government takes care. So many cities are like this now. Many towns are there, even in India. And I think more and more are becoming like that. Even when I travel to the north, some cities which were pretty bad in my last visit have improved like multifolds in
Wow.
all aspects. So India is improving. See, we were down in the dumps, and it takes a while to get up there. Soaring like an eagle. You can't do that in 1 or 2 days, right? Or you can't do it in 60, 70 years also.
Also, India's agenda has never aligned with exploiting other countries, like a lot of developed, air quotes, developed countries have.
Exactly. We are so inclusive. I mean, like, we still, even we want to support Nepal, and it's been historically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
All the people, if you see historically, are trampled upon into India,
yeah.
from the Romans, from Alexander the Great, who was stopped. and then till the British now, and now the Chinese last week. People are doing this into for India forever.
Yeah.
And amidst that, we are still able to thrive and do well, second populous country, and we're doing well. People have taken the Britain, India was a crown in the British throne. But for Britain, India would not have been a superpower that they were. And now, honestly, America is a superpower, in my opinion, a lot of it because of Indians. Everything we are running for them. We are doing everything for the Americans. So if you come out of there, they're going to be in big shit, honestly. Every company, even Google, our guys are handling it.
Yeah.
So I keep my my relatives all of them are into IT and working for American companies except my dad. So I keep telling them, look, see, those were the years when the Americans took physical slaves and put them in chains and made them work in their homeland. But today they're setting you free in your homeland but letting you do the same thing for them. So try to, get out of the clutches of these Americans slowly but surely and get our country growing on their own and make them work for us. So that's the way I think we have to look forward. But like I said, even the dumps, you can't do it. A slave cannot become a slave owner in one generation.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
It takes hundreds of years or even more. Even now in the US, you know what's happening to the blacks.
Yep.
So same things will happen in India, but it is happening faster here.
Hmm.
Absolutely faster. In Nagarkoil, I know my large drivers, kids an engineer. Many people are doing good courses. Education is open to everyone here. Education is compulsory. I'm living in a good part of India, I guess, where where more people are into all this. So, but on the whole, definitely India is improving. I don't have any doubt in that. I still believe this will happen.
I especially respect people like you. I don't know you personally, but I feel like I've gotten to know you a lot over this conversation. But I especially respect people who have the option of moving someplace else where they will end up earning much more, but they still resort to stay in India. And that is so good to hear. That is so good to understand through their experiences and through their objective. Even their objectives are not very objective. It is not just for India where these functional benefits were more than someplace else. No, it is that you observe that yes, this place does hold a deeper meaning, and people understand that, and people like you stay back to improve the country. That is so nice.
Thank you.
So, just one last question. Do you think that the technology is included for your profession, have reached the epitome or have reached a stagnation, or do you think that there is still tremendous progress to be made? If there is, which field do you see it in? Do you see it in bionic? I don't know what the term is, but synthetic limbs, or whether it is in genetic engineering. So, do you think the technology has reached where it would have, or do you still think there is ways to go?
I think there's still ways to go. I am a believer that there's always more to be done in every field, and I think human race is itself like that. And definitely in our field, there's more to be done. And in maxillofacial surgery, let me just say the advances that have been made in the last 2 decades, which are mind blowing. And then I'll tell you what can happen in the next decade, maybe, or in the decade after that. So when I finished my training, we were mostly using, for example, stainless steel plates that were available,
Hmm.
even
Mm-hmm.
titanium ware, but not that freely. Now it's freely available. Indians are making very good quality titanium, though the German ones are still better. But a lot of growth in 20. But we are now doing CAD CAM designed implants,
Ah.
where the Indians are doing very good because they're using this computer technology to make the implant exactly specific for the particular patient in the particular area
Ah.
and in super quick time. This is happening for the last 2 3 years. So I have a friend by name John in Chennai. So he has a small company that is startup, and with him and another friend in Mumbai, on Mr. Kamath, we're doing a lot of these things also. So it gives a big technology is a big advantage.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So I'll give you an example. Patient comes to us with one side of the face different from the other. What do? Take the patient scan, send the scan to the CAD CAM. They make the facial model. On the model, they see what is the discrepancy, and we make an implant on the other just like this.
Ah.
Now that
Okay.
is a model. It's a guide that comes to me. तो मेरे हाथ में ना जो फाइनल डेस्टिनेशन पहले से पता चल गया, तो
It is already there.
easier,
Yeah.
है ना? If you
Wow.
know exactly where you have to reach, it's easier for me, and without that much experience, somebody else can reach there also. You know what I mean? So just
Yeah,
cut
yeah.
the learning curve. That's the first point I want to make. The technology. The second thing the technology is going to do in the future is reduce the learning curve. I told you I've been to many places to learn many different things. I've been to so many places to learn different trainings, from Chang'an and Taiwan to Malaysia, Bruges, Belgium, many places. I used to do minimum 2 trainings a year because it was essential. Even now, I'm doing that. But slowly and slowly, this technology is changing this. We are able to now train from at the comfort of your office. So they're having gadgets that mimic exactly the natural body. These videos that you're talking about on Instagram, I never saw those videos learning up. So whereas future surgeon sees this, अरे अच्छा ऐसा है ठीक है. When he sees it first time, fat fat they remember everything. So technology is going to go one more step further, I think, and will train surgeons, train pilots. Pilots is already train all surgeons in a more professional, highly efficient manner, so that we will not have to do anything on patients to learn. There was a saying that you got to have gray hair before you be a good surgeon. And so that can change a lot. I think that should be the next big thing that's happening in the field of surgery. I hope. Yes, what you're saying, genetic engineering is happening. We are doing a lot of new bone therapy.
Okay.
So we are using bone genetic proteins now. So what happens? A patient is having a defect in the upper jaw. Only last few years we're getting a bone morphogenic protein. I put the protein and the bone grows there.
Oh.
So it's a big thing. Patient has a short upper jaw. We put a screw. We do a particular type of a surgery, and as you turn the screw, the bone grows. This is the patient's own body depositing own good quality, same type bone.
Wow.
So these are advances, and I think more will happen. These advances are only going to improve, and I hopefully think that training will be a big area that this technology will help and revolutionize.
So is this in any way related or regarding stem cells, where you're talking about it grows automatically?
That is different.
Acha,
Stem
acha,
cells,
okay.
yes, yeah, stem cells is one more step higher. It hasn't come for clinical use in our field, yes,
Okay,
yet.
okay.
But stem cells promises us to grow a tooth or grow a nose, and then you can just directly keep it. That kind of a thing can happen in the years to come. But believe me, even that happens, I think there still needs to be a surgeon and that learning curve. So now we're having robotics,
Yeah, I was
So
going to
for we
ask.
having so many surgeons are able to take help of these gadgets to perform surgery more precisely. I do that also all the time. So I'll tell you an example. We purchased this cone beam CT scan. It's a German machine.
Okay.
Only 4 years ago, it was in the market. Only 4.5 years ago. What it does, you can sit and take a CT scan.
Okay.
No need to lie down. No need to go inside that thing. Nothing. And beautiful quality CT scan, much better than that conventional CT scan, and it is 10 times less radiation
Oh.
and more clear by 10 times. Okay, simple thing. So what happens? Patient walks in, gets a CT scan in 15 minutes. We get the analysis. Oh, big advantage, and I know every millimeter now. So like that, every field. CAD/CAM, I told you another thing that we're using. So yeah, I think without technology, a surgeon cannot do well these days. You have to be, and that's what these trainings help us also. I was telling you about many trainings, right?
Yeah.
So the training also, the technology is a very, very integral part these days. Yeah, it definitely has to be a part of the surgeon so that you learn and also empower others to learn quickly.
I've seen the medical field employing virtual reality very quickly and very well,
Yes.
because my field of research for my PhD is also virtual reality. So I've seen
Wow.
that the medical field employs it much better. They take very good use from it. So as you were alluding to regarding the training part of the research. Yeah, so what you're basically saying is that the invasiveness is reducing and the predictability is increasing. And of course, the sharing of information is also increasing. So all these things are helping not just in training, but the professionals as well.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
So if people want to reach you, how do they get to you? Or if they want to see your work?
Well, I think they can look up Instagram. We're there on all social media. It depends what they're interested in. If they want to learn from my techniques and see the intricacies of surgeries and stuff, I would recommend them to see Instagram. But if they generally only want to see the just follow us, Twitter is okay, or they can see many pictures of what we do on Pinterest, YouTube channel, websites, whatever they are comfortable with, Facebook also, anything. Yeah, I'm happy if they can WhatsApp me if they have a medical query pertaining to them, if they have anything like that, because then I can get back to them easy. I have a particular number for that. But if they just want to see and learn, and then they're curious and just want to know, Instagram, YouTube channel is good, because in YouTube channel, what happens is I've got this guy helping me, so he's like a cinematographer, videographer guy, and there's another person helping me take these videos and upload them. So apart from really surgical ones that are gory and scary for the common man, they also come out with nice clips that educate and give idea about what's happening, about anesthesia, about speech, about the different aspects that we're doing, which would be more educative for a layman maybe. So maybe a layman or a different field person, I think YouTube channel would be better just to see, and because there'll be more interesting things. But for a doctor or a physician or someone who is seeing a work, Instagram might be better.
All right. So before I end, I would just want to thank you because not just firstly for except being a sport and coming on to the Pondering Sounder podcast. It is also because very few people. It is obvious that all fields, the narratives regarding all fields are dominated by the Western society right now. And whenever I try to approach anybody who's an expert in their field, especially Indians, they seem very hesitant to talk about it. And first of all, you were game for it, and even before I asked you, you have been doing this. You have gone one step ahead to spread information, even though it might not benefit you at all, but it is still benefiting so many people, medical students, of course, but also just curious minds. So thank you for doing that first of all.
Oh, you're welcome.
And thank you so much for being a part of this talk. I hope you also enjoyed this conversation.
Yes, it was a pleasure. I hope what I shared makes sense to people who listen. Yeah.
And can you tell me the name of your dog also, please? Because he's also been an integral part of this conversation today.
And yes, you know what? I've tried hard to keep. So it's
But it
not
was
dog.
nice.
Yeah.
It was
So
a nice flavor.
we are animal lovers. We have three
Nice.
dogs here at home. So there's one Perro and Carlos, the two labs, one Mallorquin Shepherd and one lab, and there's another Rosie. So this was rescued by my wife from the street. So she's called Rosie. And then we have a pig. Uh,
Oh,
he's called Dukor. He's a cute guy, but a very nice big fellow. We have a small kitten, fighter. Yeah, and we have some fishes. Yeah, so we have a lot of animals at home.
so there is no kind of discrimination going on in your house. That is not even regarding species.
Well, we love animal. I'm a dog lover, and of the three dogs, my favorite is Sparrow because he is very, very emotionally sensitive. He can understand what we feel, and always comes with us and all that. So yeah, I love dogs. I love them a lot.
Even our house is like a mini zoo. We have
Wow.
borrowed this one injured dog from our college because nobody's there to take care of him during the lockdown. And there are two kittens, so there is this politics going on between the three of them. And then
Okay.
there are two dogs outside who we just give food just like that. So they just sleep outside the house only.
Oh, okay. These all we have taken like they're our pets now. So yes, we do those things. My wife is actually she loves to take care of street animals and everything. I'm not in favor of that because I feel they are we have don't give them injections. They can cause issues, but she still takes care of them and does her own thing. But when we adopt, I say this is ours. So we keep it like our own pet.
Hmm.
The Rosie is like that, and also the kitten. Those two are adopted guys. Yeah. But yes, animals are nice. They're awesome.
So thank you, Dr. Sunil. It was a pleasure. It was a really deeply. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you. Same here. Nice to get in touch with you. So I hope we be friends in the future. If there's anything you can let me know on Insta.
Sure, sure.